wanna know what you, yeah, I wanna know what you want. My niggas gon' blow at you, yeah, my niggas gon' blow at you down.
What is going on, B+ gang? What's that smell? Yo, y'all don't smell that? What's cooking, man? What's really cooking, B+ gang? No, like, what's really cooking? Like, I have a couple of people in my basement. They're starving, okay? Need food. It's not looking pretty for them. I understand. If you don't want to cook, that's fine. Allow me to cook with today's video. So our favorite hot girl, Meg Thee Stallion, is in another legal battle, and this time it's involving her former photographer who is suing her on counts of alleged workplace harassment.
You're joking. Not another one?
And this photographer is also alleging that she forced him to work under hostile work environment conditions. So we're gonna get into this whole thing. But before we start talking about some of the specifics, I really do kind of want to note how litigious Meg's career has been since she stepped onto the scene. Like, it seems like at every major stepping point in her career, it's filled with, you know, like lawsuits of some sort. But this time she's on the receiving end, so, you know, things can change, I guess. Just, you know, kind of funny to mention. So this guy, Emilio Garcia, we'll just call him Emilio, I guess, or camera guy. So camera guy worked for Meg between the years of 2018 and 2013 as a professional cameraman. And of course, the whole point of the lawsuit is that during that period of time when he worked for Meg, that his work environment subjected him to harassment, labor code violation, and just says it was an all-around bad experience. His major claim in the entire lawsuit is it's a bit weird, okay? It's a bit weird, especially if it's true. This is, I'm looking at anybody who does this a little sideways. My head is gonna be on a 45-degree angle. But camera guy alleges that while they were driving in an SUV in Spain, Meg started having shaboing boing.
What did he say?
Meg started getting it on unprompted with one of the other women in the car. And this was all happening right next to the camera guy, in which he says, you know, he was frozen, mortified, which rightfully so. This is crazy. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, but it's Meg Thee Stallion. Like, oh my God, have you seen her? And first of all, you motherfuckers are nasty, okay? But second of all, let's self-insert into that situation. Imagine being trapped in a moving car in a foreign country somewhere with this powerful and influential person who is also your boss, and they just decide to have sex in front of you. And then afterwards, they have the balls, the audacity to tell you to shut up about it, as though, you know, they couldn't wait to get to the destination that they were driving to do what they were gonna do. To be fair to him as well, he did shut up about it, but now he's not shutting up about it and he's trying to get it back. So you never told him how long he couldn't talk about it for. He can't have your eat and cake it. I don't fucking know. And that's kind of the other part of this too, because camera guy alleges that either Meg didn't even know he was there, or she tried to play like coy afterwards, because later on this same Spain trip, she would ask him if he was present in the car during, you know, what happened. And then when he was obviously like, yeah, I was there, I saw it, my eyes burned into my eyes, she also had the balls to tell this guy not to discuss what he saw with anybody else. If that's me, bro, I'm folding immediately. As soon as I step off the plane, I'm sending out a tweet. You chose the one wrong, hired the wrong guy. I am not keeping it P. And after this whole Spain trip, Meg started eventually to ghost camera guy, and she switched their contractual agreement to like more of a style where she was gonna pay him every time they had a photo shoot, instead of the way it was structured before, where she would pay him on a monthly basis. And this is all the while he has a full-time job, basically just taking pictures for Meg. She would even tell him, basically giving him a non-compete, meaning that he couldn't work for other people, saying that he could only work for her. Although it's not very clear at this point whether that was a verbal agreement or they signed off on it. But if they actually signed off on an agreement where Meg is saying that she can't go and work for, you know, her competitors essentially, then that's a very scummy thing to do, especially if you're gonna start ghosting the guy. Then, you know, basically just go elsewhere while you're paying the guy that you hired less. That's where a lot of this lawsuit is going to hinge, in my opinion, if this guy has the valid paperwork to prove that, you know, these things are actually true. Like Meg said he couldn't work for anybody else. He also alleges that while he was working full-time, he didn't even have access to basic or at least like minimal health care. So because of this, he says that in that period of time when he was working for Meg, he says he was put through mental, physical, financial, and medical abuse, basically. And so that's why he's going to need a lot of paperwork, because if he can prove that he ended up getting sick or he ended up breaking his arm, for an example, and Meg as his employer wasn't taking care of that, then, you know, of course it's gonna look bad on her part. But if you want my honest opinion, okay, all right, all of the softies have left the video, they've clicked off, only the real ones remain. Click that subscribe button. But in my opinion, this lawsuit is a little crazy from what we know right now. Like, unless there is some concrete evidence or information to validate a lot of what he said, then the trial for this will really just result in he said, she said. Like, nobody else was with you in that car in Spain, my G. I'm sorry if it really happened. That's fucking crazy. Meg is nasty for that. But, you know, nobody was there with you in the car to say whether or not these things happened. And this was kind of my problem with the Lizzo case as well. On paper, a lot of this stuff sounds bad, right? Especially to be coming from these people. Like Lizzo, you know, she's fat shaming people when her whole brand is essentially, you know, fat acceptance. It's kind of hypocritical. But a lot of those, you know, little quips and claims like that can never really be verified fully. But what it does do is it works as an effective kind of smear campaign until the artist can, you know, hopefully in their case, dispel it as false if it is false. But even if it's not false, right? And these people like Lizzo actually did fat shame her employees, or Meg actually did the spadongi in the moving SUV, they have like mountains of PR teams and people that work for them just to maintain their image. So they're gonna be able to spin it as like a he said, she said story, because, you know, nobody was there to verify whether these things actually happened or not. Or I guess I should say nobody is willing to verify whether these things happened or not. But in the Lizzo case, I will admit I'm more inclined to believe those women for a lot of the reasons I said in my Lizzo video. I know it has like 50 views, but you know, check it out. But those girls went through like the whole process of like going through a reality TV show for like the whole length of a tour, tryouts and all that stuff. So I'm more inclined to believe that that was a situation that they saw as good that turned sour. Whereas this guy, he's not only suing Megan and her touring agency, but he's also suing her label as well. And in this lawsuit, he's asking for more than 6 figures. I don't think we have an exact number yet, but allegedly it's more than 6 figures, which is fucking insane. I mean, clearly, in my personal opinion at least, okay, he's trying to get a bag out of this. But if he was actually wrong, and if this stuff actually did happen, then, you know, get your bag, king, get your coins, I guess. Gotta be a hot boy summer, you know what I'm saying? But more information will probably come out about this. I don't believe Meg's team has put out a response yet. That would be very unfortunate if they did after I released this video, like in the Lizzo situation. But this is giving me a lot of hints of like the same vibe, where Megan's brand is kind of like, you know, this post-sexualized thing. It's, you know, it's not nothing new, of course, but like her brand relies on her sexuality, you know, shocker. And so you think she would be more smart, maybe is the word, I don't even know, or conscientious maybe, of like how sex is portrayed and, you know, the optics of it. And she wouldn't just, I don't know, bang in the middle of a moving car with people that she doesn't know are okay with it or not. But yeah, it does hit a little bit on that hypocritical side, but not as much as the Lizzo case did, obviously. But I will say I believe it a little bit, okay? It has a little bit of my belief. Emilio actually made a really good point, and he put out a statement saying basically, you know, there is no HR in the entertainment industry. So that's why a lot of these kinds of lawsuits are common, because it's kind of like the only avenue an independent, I guess, like contractor or like somebody that, you know, works for somebody like directly, this is one of the only avenues that they can use to like hold their employer accountable. And that's why you always hear these stories about disgruntled like producers or photographers or jewelers or whoever else, because a lot of those people are just working on like a person-to-person basis, and some of them don't even sign contracts, and it's more of like this "you're my homie" kind of thing, which is very evident that people within these entertainment industries will take advantage of that kind of dynamic going on. And that's why you got to get a lot of this stuff on paper, because if Meg Thee Stallion just had this guy on a homie deal and was like, yeah, you're my photographer, no paperwork is signed for it, you can't get litigious about it. But camera guy has obviously lawyered up, so I'm hoping he has his T's dotted and his I's crossed, because he's trying to go at Rock Nation and the big boys, and I guarantee you they have lawyers. My God, Morgan & Morgan, they ain't gonna cut it. My God. But his lawyers did put out a statement on his behalf, and they say, Megan just needs to pay our client what he's due, own up to her behavior, and quit this sort of sexual harassment and fat shaming conduct. I forgot to mention that, but he also alleges that she fat shamed him, which is crazy because I've seen pictures of the guy. He's like skinny as so you know, but let's keep going. Emilio should have never been put in a position of having to be in a vehicle with her while she had sex with another woman. Inappropriate is putting it lightly. Exposing this behavior to employees is definitely illegal, which I would agree. If all of this really happened, Meg is crazy. I would even say she's a bad human being.
Shorty trifling.
Because how do you have intercourse in front of somebody and then you press them like they were the one that were out of pocket? I'm swinging. I'm sorry, but I'm swinging, bro. I don't care. But anyway, guys, that's it for the most part. I'm sure we'll get some more information or some clarity about this whole thing. And at that point in time, I'll probably be likely to update you guys with what happens or if Meg responds or you know, something. But right now, it's not looking good for the stallions, the hotties. Oh no, what are you gonna do? If you enjoyed today's video, then leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing for some more B+ channel on the content. If you enjoy introspective hip-hop and culture related topics, then I would suggest hitting that subscribe button and also checking that bell so you don't miss a single video. But aside from that, I'll see you guys on the next one.